I became
this sober vet.
Don't live, don't live, don't live.
Our mission is to normalize sobriety with veterans who are using and abusing substances in a harmful, self-medicating way. Hey world, I have a special announcement today. We are recording on a not normal day because this should be a national holiday. It is for me and my family. Today, June 14th, is my 4-year sobriety date. That's right. So today we're celebrating with a special episode. I am joined by the love of my life, the beautiful, multi-talented, the woman that turned me into an honest man, the woman that I gave my last name to, that gave me a family, and the woman that gave me sobriety. My best friend and partner in life, Katie Yurick.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Hey, honey, how are you? You're looking very beautiful, by the way.
Well, thank you.
I feel like you woke up like this. Like it just was natural. It didn't take any time at all.
Yeah, I was told I was the neediest guest he's ever had.
Whoa. We're going to edit that out. So anyway, so thank you for being here. What I wanted to do today was I just wanted to discuss where we are. We're 4 years into my sobriety, which I didn't even know was going to be an option in the beginning. I'm sure you felt the same way.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to kind of just start with June 14th, the day that I quit. June 13th is the day that we had this ultimatum put on my lap and I say this in every interview, I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for having the intestinal fortitude to even give me this scary ultimatum and then forcing me into sobriety, which has been the greatest thing in our lives, right?
Absolutely.
So let's kind of start from the day after. What was going through your head? My first day of sobriety, like just thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Well, first, I'm going to backtrack. I want to say congratulations. This is a great moment for you, for our current family, and even like our future family. I feel like you have broken this cycle that our family was in and was able to keep our family together. So that way, not only will this help our children's lives, but it helps their children's lives, as we can all be a family together and have these moments that we wouldn't have had if you didn't stop drinking. So it's
a generational curse that was broken by me.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So thank you for everything.
Thank you, babe.
Yes. Congratulations. Day after, I think at that point felt like every other time you told me you were going to stop. It didn't feel real. I didn't believe you. The trust had already been broken so many times that they were just words. There was no action yet. Now I will say it was, for me, I could tell that it really resonated the most and out of all the times for you, because I never really told you to leave. So when I was able to have that conversation, I can see in your eyes that it was impactful. I just didn't know if it was impactful for a day, a week, a month, because I feel like you would go through those promises, empty promises that you would make. And at some point the other shoe would fall and we would be right back to where we were. So at the day after, I still was not convinced that you were really going to change at that point.
So real quick, I think that is the difference between motivation and discipline, because previously I had been motivated to quit drinking, but then a week or two would go by and I would get that addict's itch and I couldn't do it. Where this time I was forcing myself to have the discipline because I didn't want to lose you. I didn't want to lose the kids. There was just a lot more at stake this time. So I feel like it switched from just being motivated to quit to being disciplined. Holy crap. Either it's shit or get off the pot. If I don't commit to this, I'm going to lose everything I love in life. And I could not do that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it was a switch from motivation to discipline. This was the last straw.
Yeah. And I just, it was something that as far as not an ultimatum, but like things I've asked you before, like please go get help, please see a counselor. And I finally realized like I'm not going to be able to make him change. All I can do is like choose my options. And my option is I can stay in this and continue to live in this roller coaster of a home. Which my children were also going through that roller coaster. You know what I mean? We're all riding that ride and we wanted to get off. We didn't want it anymore. Or I can finally do what I've been preparing to do, like through therapy, through talking with friends, is that I need to leave for my own sake and my children's sake. And I was grateful that when I told you and I gave you that ultimatum, because I mean, to this day, I would have bet any amount of money that I never would have thought you would have chose me, because I asked so many times. You know, I asked so many times for you to quit, and I wrote so many letters to you thinking that maybe if you read it and I wasn't saying it, maybe if I texted it and then I said it, you know, there was ways that I would try to do it so maybe you would hear it in a different way. And I finally had to just sit down on the front porch with you and tell you, like, you need to get out.
And you know what? That truly was heartbreaking, because I love you with all my heart. You are my best friend. Like, we've been through so much in life. We've come so far in life. And to get to the point where you were willing to end everything that we've built, it truly, it hurt my soul that I put you in that position. And then intellectually, it made me think, like, how dumb am I that I literally am choosing a liquid that I'm putting up to my mouth over this beautiful human who I gave my last name to. We have 2 awesome boys. We have an amazing family. We built such a good foundation. We literally came from eating spaghetti and rolled up hot dogs 3 days a week from nothing to where we are now. We have a very comfortable life. And the fact that this could all be taken away because of an addiction, it truly made me feel just horrible. And it made me question everything about me. So sorry, keep going. That's just
but I think in your way, like when you say, like, when we built this great life, but I think you were still seeing those rose-colored glasses, because I think on the outside, people that would see us post things and do things, they were like, wow, that's such a like amazing family, but they didn't know what was actually happening behind closed doors. Right. That, like, you know, during the day, yeah, that was really great. But like 5 o'clock would hit, 6 o'clock's hit, you know, and then you've changed. You're started to drink, and then that mood has changed, and now the dynamic has changed. Now we're upstairs, we're hiding. So I still feel like even when you first quit, and then you had like expensive alcohol in the fridge downstairs, and I was like, are you going to get rid of that? And I know you were at first, you were like, well, I mean, I don't see why I have to throw it out. So I know there were things like that I would say, and then I'm thinking, he's not changing. Like, if you're not willing to empty out that fridge downstairs, you're not willing to. And that wasn't something that was automatically done right away. That was another step through the journey that when I noticed you emptied that out, I was like, okay, he got rid of it. And that was a while.
So I did that on my own, because your memory is way better than mine. So I don't recall that.
Yeah. So okay. You didn't want to. I mean, there were some gifts that people got you of more expensive beer, and they were, you know, in special containers. I couldn't even tell you what they were, but that you didn't want to get rid of. And then you're like, someone else can have them. But I think it was almost like a safety net for you. At least that's how I saw it. I saw it as you weren't making a full commitment yet, but you weren't drinking. So let's see how long this is going to take. You know, like I didn't think he was going to do it. But then within, you know, a day or two, you made an appointment with the therapist. That was a step that I was like, wow, he's never done that. I've asked for that for 10, 12 years. Okay, like he is doing something different. This is the different that I need. And I think coming back with realization from like therapy and talking to me about stuff that he was starting to realize. And when he finally said that he was an alcoholic, that was a changer, because we even, and I don't know if we talked about this in the previous episode, we even went to an AA meeting.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah, there was a time where it was a really bad, again, night. And I don't even remember what episode that, like what happened that night. But a really bad drinking experience. We got into an argument, and you were drinking really bad. And the next day I was, very upset, and you said you were going to change. I said, okay, you need to go to AA meeting. And you left going, see, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not where those people are. And you made me go there. And there was kind of a little bit of anger that I made you do that. And that was the only time that you went to an AA meeting. And that was years before you quit.
So can I tell you, so from my perspective, when we went to that meeting, a lot of people were sharing their like rock bottoms. And I had just got lucky in the sense where I'd never had a DUI, never got locked up, never did anything like super bad, or at least got caught doing anything super bad. So in my mind, I'm like, if anything, I'm a high functioning alcoholic. Like I'm still handling my things. I'm doing everything I should do before drinking. So like in my mind, I was upset that you viewed me in that light. I'm like, I'm not as bad as these people, because here I am still thinking that I'm kind of in control and can handle it, when in hindsight, I was definitely, just like I said, a high functioning alcoholic. And I was like, again, when I was drinking, my ego was forefront. And by you making me go there, it was a huge blow to my ego. So, of course, my defense came back, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, screw her for making me go do this. Like, I was very upset that you even made me go do that.
Yeah, and I went with you. This was something we did together.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, he's going, let's go together.
Yeah. And no, I was not happy. And yeah, that was like the only meeting I went to.
Yeah. And so, like I said, and that was years before you got sober. So when you went to a therapist, which I feel like is something that I really was advocating for you, because I've been in therapy for years and it's helped me so much. And I know maybe that's not helpful for everyone, but I think there were so many other things that you needed to talk through, that I knew maybe why you were drinking and what you were dealing with, that you didn't want to communicate with me. And maybe I don't understand because I wasn't in the military, or I didn't have the same background as you, because we all have our own backstories and griefs that we're working through. And I think that that is really what I wanted for you, is to be able to have a therapist, to be able to speak with someone, to be able to talk through, why am I doing this? What am I trying to numb myself from? Because, I mean, ultimately, I feel like that's what you were doing.
Absolutely. And seeking therapy was huge for me, because I preach this all the time. Nobody could do this alone. Sobriety is such a daunting journey that I don't care how strong you think you are, you need a support system. And for me, you were my biggest support system. But second was definitely therapy, because I had a male therapist. He was addicted to hard drugs, addicted to alcohol for a long time. And he, I think, was like 15 or 16 years sober now. And just the tools that he would give me, and just knowing that he's been through it and like made it through that hell, I'd listen to him different, and I would open up to him different than I would, say, like a female therapist, because we kind of broed out when we would be in our sessions, and we would just talk to each other as equals, as men. And there were some things that I opened up to him that I wouldn't have felt comfortable with a female. So if you're early in your sobriety journey, definitely, I highly recommend a therapist. If the first one you go to isn't your scene or your vibe, go to another one. You will find one that you vibe with. And that truly helped me, because the tools that he gave me, I still use to this day.
Yeah. And I think then, like, once we got through the first couple of weeks, I was like, okay, like, and you gave up beer before for Lent.
Right at the beginning of COVID. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So like, I knew that, like, okay, you can go a period of time. But I didn't think it was gonna stick. So, I think as time was going on, I could see that your commitment was more there. You started like opening up to me about your drinking, opening it up to me about where you hid your stuff. You started kind of like telling me these secrets that you kind of kept to yourself. And I still find stuff out. Like, yeah. I feel like the other day you just told me something and I was like, really? I didn't even know that. It's like when you went to the pizza place, you said that you would stop and grab some beers. So, things like that I think we're still learning even 4 years of you being sober.
Do you know why I did that in the beginning? Because that was kind of a commitment to me to go, you know what? If I let her know what my secrets were, I can't use them again. So it kind of takes away where before in the beginning, I'm like, well, if I started again, I have all these things that I could do to continue my addiction that she may not know about. But I felt like as I was comfortable enough to expose them, it kind of broke another link of the chain that was keeping me with my addiction. And for every link of the chain broken was a little bit more freedom. And that's why I kind of was comfortable enough to tell you those things.
Yeah. And I think, you doing that helped me build trust back. Like as you're breaking blocks down and you're pulling your wall down, it helped my trust wall be built back up. And, every time like you were able to share something with me, we were building something better together. And that was really helping. But I also noticed that you were going through so much. So like your patience was non-existent. You were very quick to anger because you didn't have something to rely on. So my patience had to be even more better because I had to make sure that we're like kind of tiptoeing, but in a different way now. Like we're not tiptoeing because we think he's going to yell because he's been drinking, but we know he's struggling and we need to kind of tiptoe to kind of make sure that you feel supported and still loved. And we're not kind of like tipping you over to push you to drink. There was that, I think as being the sober one, being scared that if I push you too hard or if I upset you too much, you're going to go back to what you were doing. So, but yeah, I mean, you were very easy to frustrate.
So all the listeners, do you hear how I always say that Katie was my rock through this whole thing and my biggest support system? Just the fact that she knew what I was going through, acknowledged it, and acted accordingly to be there to support me. Not once in the beginning did she ever go, well, since you quit drinking, you've been more sensitive or you've been more, she never threw, because my emotions were all over in the beginning because I was learning who Joe Yurick was again. My brain was rewiring back to how you're supposed to normally feel human emotions were before I was masking everything. So any spouse listening there that may be struggling with a new, freshly clean alcoholic, bear with them, be their support system, do what Katie's saying, because that for me was huge. And it's crazy because when we got married and we would hit certain milestones in life, I would think to myself, like, man, I could not love this woman anymore. Like, we're in such a great spot. This sobriety journey, I love her more now than I ever even fathomed. And it's because of her showing up in ways like that, especially when I was in the beginning and so vulnerable. And we didn't even discuss this. Like, she just did it. And it was beautiful. So sorry to cut you off.
No. Like, I mean, I wanted you to know that, like, and I think we do this for each other anyway. Like, whenever we're doing something, we support each other so full-hearted that if you're going to do something, I'm going to 1,000% have your back. And I think something that, and it's different for every relationship, but to me, I stopped drinking years before just because I wanted to be the sober one for my kids because they saw it with their dad. But if I went out with my friends or something years before, I would have like a drink or two. Where like now I would never drink again because I want to stand strong. Where I do see other couples or people say, oh my gosh, my husband or my wife drinks so much, but they still drink too. So I think like you have to be that support system. I don't want, if it's something that's hard for him, I don't want to make it harder by him then seeing me do it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is to me supporting him in another way. Like I can't sit there and fix everything and how his brain works and what he's craving and what he's thinking. But what I can do though is show my love and show up in a way that he knows I care. And I think that that's really what I focused on, during the time, because even when it was like, okay, we hit 1 month, we hit 2 months, and I'm like, okay, when's he going to start drinking? I'm sure it's coming. Like, I didn't want to get my hopes up I think that's what I really held out for. And Joe kept saying, it's really sticking. And I'm like, okay, I hope so. I'm here. Like, I'm here for you. Let's go. Because then he would be like, do you believe me? And I'm like, you know what? I do, but I'm just scared. I don't want the other Joe to come back because this one is so much better. Even through the more emotionalness. I mean, we would be watching TV and Joe really before, he never cried. Like he just didn't cry. He cries all the time, guys. I'm letting you know he's so mushy, which I love.
I'm
I
a
love
sensitive man.
I love the sensitive man. I love it. But we'll watch a commercial and I look over, I'm like, are you crying? And he's like, no, I'm not crying, but he's totally crying, guys.
It was the SPCA commercial where they're singing and all those poor
I don't even
dogs.
think it was that. It was probably like a Crest commercial. I don't even know. But like, but in general, like you were just so much more emotional, which to me, it was even more beautiful. Like I love seeing that you're vulnerable and that a commercial or a Disney movie is making you tear up because, you know, that's real. Like those feelings you're feeling are real. You're not masking them anymore. And that was like so beautiful to me. And I think even seeing like our kids reaction to you being sober and like celebrating with you and was just so exciting. Like our youngest would like write on a piece of paper and like decorate it and be like, 4 months sober. Cause like we would be talking that it's coming up and he would like, decorate it and put it on the kitchen counter. Yeah. So like when, Joe came down, the next morning it was there and like he has support. But like something I wanted to make sure I never did. And I'm hope I can continue this the rest of our life is that I never brought back things that he did while he's been sober and been like, you did this to me and then argue about it or throw it in his face in any way because that's not who he is anymore. And he's doing something so much better. So I'm not going to throw anything in his face. That's not something I will ever do.
And I greatly appreciate that. I have a question for you. So what was the point where you switched your perspective and went, wow, like maybe this is going to stick? Was there a certain occasion? Was it an amount of time or what was that switch?
I think the amount of, there were a couple things. I think you throwing out the beer in the fridge and emptying that out. I was like, cause you kept saying, well, for guests and stuff like that. And I'm like, because I would notice that like you would go get a bag of ice and keep it in the freezer downstairs. We have a fridge in our basement for like parties and drinks and sodas and waters. And I would open up the freezer and there's like a bag of ice. And I knew it was so you didn't use the ice up here to make noise when you got it out of the machine. So when those things started disappearing to myself, I was like, wow, I see some change. We came to Christmas. That was a big one for me. So Christmas came and Christmas Eve is really big with my family. We have on my dad's side a huge family, which I love, and we all get together and we get to celebrate the holidays together. It's also a time where everyone is drinking and enjoying each other's time, and that's great for those who can. I'm not against people who drink. That I have no problem with people who can handle drinking. So, there are people who are doing it in a positive way and using it, and not negatively affecting themselves or family or abusing it. Drink. That's completely up to you. So, but, it's Christmas Eve and people are asking and Joe's not really like, he was saying he was sober, like he wasn't drinking, but he wasn't fully coming out like and talking about it. He started talking about it a little bit more at Christmas Eve and he didn't drink. Now, I kind of like backtrack, a few years before that. Christmas Eve was really hard for me. It went from being like a really joyous time to coming home. Well, one time we got into the car, we started driving, and I said to Joe before, I said, let me drive. And he said, no, I'm going to drive. And I think it's a part of that. I know you talk about like sometimes your ego, you didn't want to like,
100%
show, that you were a weakness in any way. And as soon as you got behind the wheel, I'm like, no, he's drunk as much as you. So I was like, you need to stop this car and pull over. And he did immediately. And we switched places and I drove home. Well, we put the kids to bed. You do all those things so then Santa Claus can come and the magic starts happening. And it's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work to get all the presents out, to make the presentation, to, you know, make sure that, you know, Santa ate the cookies and Rudolph had the carrots, and, you know, make that magic happen while the kids are sleeping. And for the last few years, he was so drunk, he was passed out on the couch and I had no help whatsoever. And it was really frustrating because here I am, I'm tired too. I don't have any help, and here you, and I gotta like take care of him in the same hand. And I'm like, I don't have 3 kids, I have 2. And I'm supposed to have a partner, like, but I'm feeling like a single parent right now. And that's frustrating when you have a partner and you feel alone. And I think when you have like a significant other that does have a addiction, there's times that you feel like you're doing it by yourself, and you can't tell people like I feel like a single parent because you look like a, you know, a combined family and everything's great. But so when you didn't get drunk and you didn't drink at all, and you were actually here to help me set up stuff, it was like, okay, like this is actually really amazing. It was a whole new moment, to the point where I like even was able to acknowledge that with him and be like, the last couple of years have been so hard on Christmas Eve because I didn't have you here. Like you weren't Joe. And to be able to have him back, that was like, okay.
So quick side note. So anyone listening out there who is considering sobriety, I always say that being present is such an important part of this side of sobriety for that reason right there. Prior years, I wasn't present. Maybe I would bring the presents up, but then, I would pass out and I wouldn't be a part of that joy that we were creating for our kids. So now that I'm sober, I'm present, I'm helping her, I'm creating positive memories. We wake up Christmas morning, I know exactly what happened Christmas Eve, as opposed to years prior. As the kids are open, I'm like, when did we get that? What the heck is that?
You still
like,
do that sometimes.
Sometimes. But seriously, so being present is such a gift that sobriety brings that you just, it's so huge, and it's something I didn't even consider in the beginning when I was getting sober. And what I did was, whenever you do go to family functions like that, where in previous years you would drink, bring something different. Now I drink these Waters, which are huge. I bring these everywhere. I think at that time I was drinking vitamin water.
Yeah.
But I brought instead of a 6-pack of beer, I brought a 4-pack of vitamin water. And that vitamin water got me through the night because I needed something in my hand. I needed to be social and drinking. So I just had a healthy alternative. So, and whenever you go out, make sure you and your partner are on the same page, because if it does get overwhelming and the temptation for drinking is there, have it out. Maybe drive separate and say, hey babe, like this is too much for me. I'm going to head home. Stay as long as you want. I can't be around this anymore. Always have an out, and just have a plan prior to going to these events. So that way, when you're not there, you don't get suckered into or sucked into doing a bad habit. So.
Yeah. And I think too, like there's been other times, even like while we were going and you were going through your sobriety journey in the beginning, is we had, cousin parties, and, of course people are having picnics, people are drinking, and, I said, we're going to go to this party, and you came to me and you said, listen, I don't think I'm ready to go. I think it's going to be really hard. I'm not ready to answer to people why I'm not drinking. I don't know what to say yet. And I think you were still struggling with am I an addict? And do I want to tell people I'm an addict? Mm-hmm. And I fully supported that. I'm like, you know what? That's completely fine. Stay home. We'll just say you have other things going on, not a problem. So I think supporting your partner and knowing what their limits are is important. But there are times that I didn't even realize. Like one time, I think early in your sobriety, we went out to eat, and you're like, where do you want to go? And where was that? It was in Exton.
Where they had my favorite beer?
Yeah, and I didn't know that.
Was it
Poorhouse?
Poorhouse, yeah.
So we went to the Poorhouse, and we're sitting down, and you were like, do you realize we're at a...
It's like a beer
brewery?
Yeah, basically.
Like a brewery. And I was like
40 beers on.
Yeah,
top.
and I was like, I honestly didn't even think of it. Like, because like, it wasn't even a thought of mine. And I felt so horrible. I'm like, let's go. Like, I'm ready to leave. I'm so sorry. And you're like, no, 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 it's okay. And I'm like, so then I started like being more conscious of like, where are we eating? Like, what is it near? Is that gonna like make things hard? So I think the communication is huge. Being able to communicate with your partner what you are struggling with, which I think everybody in a marriage has a hard time saying, hey, I'm struggling here and I need some help. So whenever you can communicate that, it makes it closer, which I think is also what made us even closer. When you talk about like the love that we have for each other, like when the man that I married, at that moment, like you honestly do think I couldn't love this man more. And then we have our second child, like I couldn't love this man more. And these moments keep happening. And I think I knew it was going to stick on your 1 year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
I think I knew that to me, like we were on the beach and it was right before the 1 year. And I said, we should celebrate your sobriety. What do you think? And you were like, let's do it. So I feel like we were actually acknowledging it to all our family. Like we talked about it a little bit with people, but we didn't really showcase it or anything. And I said, oh my gosh, I love the saying, namaste sober.
Yeah, the t-shirt.
And so I ordered you a t-shirt and I had a t-shirt made that said namaste sober. I bought like 50 different kinds of vitamin waters and we had a vitamin water party.
Yep.
And we had all different flavors. We invited our family and some friends, and just to have everyone there to like celebrate Joe, to say like, congratulations, you did it. To me, I knew it was going to stick then. That to me was like, this is it. Like, he's going to do this. And I also know Joe is super determined and stuff. And that also means if he wanted to drink, he's going to do it. And if he doesn't want to drink, he's going to do it. So like, like just determined in general. So I knew at that point, he's going to be sober, and he's chose that for our family.
That's awesome. So I have a big gripe with society in the sense that, and try to make sense. What is the saying? Make this make sense. So make this make sense. If I'm out in public and someone comes up to me and says, hey, Joe, I got some crack, man. You want to smoke? Oh, no, dude, I'm good. I don't smoke crack. Oh, okay. If I'm out in public, someone comes up and says, hey, Joe, do you want to do a shot? Oh, no, I don't drink. Why don't you drink? What? Think about how crazy that is. And that's why in the beginning, I was embarrassed to go to these functions because I didn't want to have to explain why I didn't drink. Like, because to me, it was like a weakness because I'm an alcoholic. I can't just have one. Like, there was all this anxiety surrounding it because society is so like trapped in thinking that everyone drinks. It's okay to drink. And if you don't drink, there's something wrong with you, which is so ridiculous to me. So yeah, by the year point, I was over that whole thing, and that's why I was comfortable celebrating it. But yeah, the way society views alcohol is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. It's so weird to me too, because like, even though, you know, I'm not an alcoholic and I go out places for work events and all these things and, you know, out with friends and they always want to know why. So it's like, hey, I want to go have a cigarette. Do you want to come? No, thanks. They just walk out. It's like, do you want to drink? No. Why aren't you drinking? Like, why do I have to? What?
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
I don't have to explain shit to you.
Right. Like I do love at work though. We kind of like make a joke because everyone's like, oh, I'm going to have a good drink tonight. I was like, I'm going to have the biggest hot fudge sundae.
Yes. Nice.
Like that is like my thing. Like, so they know at work, because obviously, you know, those who I'm close with know that I don't drink, but they know like a good hot fudge sundae with some Rainbow Jimmies.
Booyah.
Yeah, that's everything.
Nice. All right. So say now year 2 came around of sobriety. Did you notice any more differences, or how did that kind of affect you?
Yeah. I mean, I think every year you have a new struggle that you're kind of learning. And I think what I was realizing is that you were frustrated in your creativity, that you were really big on making these videos for J-Dog, and they were so funny. And if you guys haven't seen him, got to check them out. So, but he'd make these really funny videos. And he said that's where he would get his inspiration, is when he was, you know, drinking. And that since he wasn't drinking, he didn't have inspiration and he didn't know how to connect to that inspiration. And I would say to him, like, you know, like, have that conversation with God. Now, like some of you guys aren't religious, which is fine, but like however your outlet is, or whether you're speaking to the universe or whatever you're putting it out to, like, you know, for us, like talk with God and have that conversation, because there is something, out there for you. I think it was just like your creativity and your confidence were just kind of not the same.
Right.
We loved you all the same. It didn't matter to us, but I could tell that you were struggling with that. Like, I guess kind of like more about that. Like, tell me about the creativity. Like, how did you feel like that was impacting you and your businesses?
What, when I was creative, or when
you weren't, like, when you were struggling, when you would say like, I haven't have a video idea in the last, 6 weeks. What do I do?
Yeah. And I don't know if this was like the devil feeding me stuff while I was drinking, but man, when I was drinking, I would think of the most just outlandish videos. And I would talk to my crew and I'm like, guys, here's what we're doing today. And they're like, what? I'm like, just trust me. And then when it came together, the videos turned out phenomenal. And I would have other J-Dog owners, because we're a franchise, I'd have other J-Dog owners reach out and like, dude, how do you think of this stuff? Like, where does this come from? And like, I was on such a joyride with this creative outlet, and like our customers, it got to the point where a customer would be like, are you going to shoot a video on our job? Like, is there anything we could do to help? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, but yeah, it got to the point where it was just so crazy. So when I quit drinking, for some reason that faucet turned off, where before it was just flowing and now it was nothing. And I didn't understand why. And it kind of scared me, because I'm like, crap, like, I thought being sober would be all positive, but here's a huge negative for me, because I'm not like as inspired, I guess. But I think what happened was, because your brain literally does rewire, because when you drink as long as much as I did, my brain receptors for emotion, joy, and like the endorphin thing that would release endorphins, all that was turned off, because I wired my brain to go, when I have this in my hand and I get buzzed, I'm happy, I'm more inspired, I'm blah, blah. I rewired myself. So now without that, my brain is reverting back to what I'm supposed to be. So I think it probably took about a year and a half, 2 years to get my confidence all the way back. And it's crazy, because now I'm way more confident than I ever was drinking. Like, how you go out one night and it might be a karaoke bar and you're like, oh man, I need a couple of shots. And then, yeah, we'll get up there and do YMCA. And then once you're feeling it, you get up there, you're dancing, you're singing. I'm more confident now than I ever was on stage drunk singing, because I know now that not only have I beat Joe Yurick, but I don't need an outside substance to make me who I am. I'm now just me, and I'm the true me. I'm the me God wanted me to be. I'm the me the universe wanted me to be. I'm the me that my children deserve, that my wife deserves. So now I feel like my inspiration comes in different sources. And now my outlet is this Sober Vet podcast, because where J-Dog, I have 2 territories, so I could only help a finite amount of people in my territories.
Right.
With this Sober Vet, we could help people and inspire people across the world. So now this is where my real inspiration, and I try to do 2 to 3 videos on social media per day. We try to think of like different things we could do to get the word out. So like, I feel like now with sobriety, my inspiration just shifted into something bigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you found a different outlet, another tool to kind of help you. And I think it keeps you on track of wanting to continue to be sober, because when you are someone who is kind of a voice for people, you don't want to let people down. And you're always have been someone who doesn't want to let people down. Right. So I think, having the podcast and coming up with the idea, I think it gave you a new excitement. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was something different. It was a new creative outlet. Like it was exciting for you. So I think every so often, like, you can't sit still. So, it's great to have an outlet that's so positive, that I hope when people are listening that they feel heard, they feel seen, and maybe that kind of motivates them, whether they are the loved one or they are the person who is addicted.
What is something that surprised you about my sobriety, whether good or bad, but something that you didn't expect?
Good one. What did I not expect? I think I didn't expect our relationship to be as loving and better, which sounds really weird, but because like we always had a really loving relationship, but it is like, it's kind of it's kind of movie like, it's kind of cringy to say that. Like, it's like that love story that people would like watch on TV. Like, I honestly couldn't love this man any more than I already do. He makes me laugh, which he's always made me laugh so hard. But like, even now, like we just laugh, and it's like, I don't have to wait for something bad to happen or think in my back of my mind, I better enjoy this because I don't know what tomorrow brings. It is just something that I can just fully enjoy. And I think there were so many things pulling on the outside. Like, I don't know how to explain it. So like, as being the one who's the loved one, the significant other, there were so many negative things that pulled you to continue to make bad choices. And you had friends and family members that didn't want you to change what you were doing. You know what I mean? And didn't fully support even our relationship. And then you have, your work events then, and going to different things where that's surrounded by alcohol. You know what I mean? And like, I love that you're a part of the VFW, but the VFW has a bar inside, and a lot of people are going there to drink. Yep. So when you would go to these meetings, which I want you to have that sense of community, that's important to give back. But like, it was really hard because when you would go to those things, I would have these moments of, oh my gosh, like he's going to drink again and he's going to fall off. What does that say?
The wagon.
The wagon. I was going to say the boat.
Close. We don't want to fall off the boat either.
Don't fall off the boat or the wagon.
Katie's really good at sayings, by the way.
Please,
FYI.
Please know that I'm so bad. I will get them all wrong.
She'll get them close enough that you know what she's talking about,
right.
But it's totally
you got
wrong.
It. So, but don't fall off the wagon or the boat. But like, there were all these things that were like pulling him in different directions. And so when he became sober, it was like, what chords are going to break and what chords are going to be strong. And then you had certain family members that were just showed up in even a better way and in a supportive and loving way. That was like, yes, like, thank you. Like, those people mean everything. You had friends that like, some that like kind of fell back and some that like really came forward and showed their support. I know that you had someone who, one of your friends who is a veteran, and I deeply care for this person because of the sense of, you were going to the VFW to watch an Eagles game. It was you were just newly sober, so like 3-4 months.
Right. Yep.
And I did not want you to go to this event at the VFW because it's at the VFW, so there's drinking. Oh, this is an Eagles football game. There's drinking. Mm-hmm. So like, you know what I mean? It was all these things that like this trifecta that I was like, oh no, he's going to be drinking. And his friend said, how about I go with you and I'm not going to drink? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's a friend. That's a real friend who's like going to have your back and tell you that they're not going to drink with you. And he just wanted to spend time with you and have you be able to get out. And I felt like that trust was built even more so that I'm like, okay, you're going and you have that support. So, I think as an addict, you have like, again, you have all these strings and like some are going to fall apart and some are going to stay. And I think that's what a sense of community, and you're going to figure out people that you thought were like really close with you and had your back, they're not there anymore. Right. People who you didn't think were going to show up as much, they're there all the time. Or the people that were always there are still there. But like, I think the change of relationships is something that I viewed, that I was like, okay, look who's here and look who's not.
Yeah. And that's important too. And that's something, if you are considering sobriety, be prepared. You will lose people because you're just in a different mind frame, and it doesn't mean they're bad or anything. It's just they're not walking with you on this new path, and that's okay. But the people that do join you and are still with you on the new path, those are true friends.
Absolutely.
And those are relationships that you should definitely honor and hold on to. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, I feel like, it's so great that to have people who are so happy for Joe, and not just Joe, but for our family.
Yeah.
That's the true friends. When you have people who are like, I am so happy that Joe is sober for you and your family. Like I just had someone at work tell me that the other day, and it was just so moving. And then he was like, how long has he not been drinking? I was like, it's coming up to 4 years, guys. And he was like, I'm so happy that you have that for you and your family. You guys deserve that. And that is what true friendship and love and care is.
Mm-hmm. Dude, 4 years, that still doesn't even sound right.
I love it.
Crazy.
I love
4
it.
years. So, all right, so that's year 1, year 2. Year 3, year 4, have you noticed any difference, or is it just more of the same?
I think it's more the same, but I think it is still, I think sometimes you still get a little bored. I think it's hard. I think it's, you would go and I think your hobby was drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you would go to different breweries, and sometimes, in the way beginning of our relationship, I would go to breweries with you. You know what I mean? And we would check out different areas. We'd go up to Hershey, PA, and look at the ones there, and visit places that had really good beers.
That was a cool trip. That was the Trogs. That was that was a good trip.
So I think that there was just, and I probably think there's probably still searching you're going to be doing. I think there's always what type of hobby can I have? Because now I'm not drinking and used to collect different kinds of cans and cool cans that from you would drink and you would try. And so I know you do the ruck marches, which is really great. Although I really do think people who don't know about ruck marching and are walking on these trails, I think they're probably so scared because you do look a little bit creepy. I'm going to let you know. You look like you live in the woods.
Oh, lovely. Maybe I should tell them I do live in the woods and see what the reactions are.
Don't. But it is a little funny because he does wear this huge pack, and like the one time he was going through and he's showing me he has a pot in there to cook beans, and he's got a can opener. I'm
I have enough to survive for 3 days.
Right, but I'm but why? Because you're really only going for an hour or two. What are you doing in that time? If the
zombie apocalypse happens while I'm on this ruck march, I'm good.
It's really funny. So I think when people who don't know about ruck marching, even when I tell people oh yeah, that Joe's doing ruck marching, they're like, what is that? Mm-hmm. But I love that you do have that commitment and outlet for yourself, because I think that that's important.
It's my weekly celebration of sobriety.
Yeah. So yeah. I think there's I think that we're just going to find new things that you probably didn't know you liked doing. And I think it also depends on our kids' ages. We are so overwhelmed with life sometimes. Right now, you work a full-time job, you're running a business, you are also doing this podcast and really trying to, get people excited about this movement, and not a moment. We don't want a moment. You want a movement where people can say I'm struggling, and using addiction, and whether it's, alcohol or pills or drugs or, in a harmful way. And I need to be better for myself and the people around me to grow. So I think having this is so helpful for you. I think it's you're, as much as you're helping everyone, you're helping yourself. Yeah. And I love it because then I get to, as your wife, I get to hear these stories of these strong men and women who are struggling and are coming out on the other side. Because even though I know you sit there, sometimes I hear you say the other side is so much better, but to get to that side, it's not easy. It wasn't okay, I decided and now everything is better.
Right.
There was a lot of hills and mountains that you had to climb to get there. And I'm sure what do you do now when you feel you have a thought or something happens and do you have thoughts of even turning back to start drinking again?
Every once in a while I will think of drinking, but now I play it out, because I go, say I want to fall off the boat and I want to have a drink. It wouldn't be one day. It would be all right, I could handle that. And then a couple of days will go by and I'm like, oh, let me try it again. Let me try it again. And then before you know it, I would probably be drinking worse than I was before. I would lose my family. I would probably lose my business. The outcome would be so negative. And to be honest, I don't know if I could become sober again. It was that hard of a transition and a journey that I don't want to do that again. So if I were to go down that route, there's two ends to that story. There's prison or death, and I just play it out. And my life is so good right now. Last place I want to end up would be in prison, and I don't want to die because I want to be there to see my grandkids and to see where life takes me. So after playing it out, I just walk it off and go, you know what, like, what's next? And then, yeah, because there's no amount of alcohol that I can handle. So I just never want to even put myself in that situation.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. But I do want you to say that if you were to, I know you said if you fell off the boat, you wouldn't be able to quit again. And I just want to let you know that you would. Like, you're so strong, and I have your back, that I am not going to let you not be sober, because I know what you can be and what you can do sober, and I'm not going to let you give that up for anything.
I appreciate that. You know, it's crazy, and this just popped in my head. When I was drinking, I felt like there was another person in me that loved out. Like, you don't even understand how much I loved the buzz, the joy that alcohol would bring me, the social fabric of it. Like, I always joke and say it's like Popeye when he eats his spinach, but I'm serious in the sense that when I would start drinking, I would think, wow, this is the real me. This is what life's about. In that 2 to 5 beer area where like the buzz is really good. Anything after that, when I would start forgetting things, that's when I was an asshole. My ego was up here. Like, but in the beginning, those first couple of beers was everything to me. And I thought that was the joy of life. I thought that if you work hard, you earn a couple drinks, you're supposed to be able to feel good. If you watch any movie, they're drinking at the end of the day. But yeah, to me, just alcohol was everything. And that buzz, like, I just chased it. I love that buzz. I was so addicted to it. But now that I'm sober, there's such a freedom to not being chained to that. Because like literally before, anything we did, whether it was vacation, going out, just a Friday night, I had to stop at the beer store. I had to stop at the liquor store. I had to make sure I would get all my addictions in line. So when I would get home, then boom, I could start drinking. The next day I would feel like crap. Sometimes it would make me feel like crap for multiple days. And I think of all the time that I missed out on by not being present because I was either dealing with a hangover or I was blacked out, and I'm trying to figure it out, a way to apologize to you for something I don't even remember doing. Like, that life was such a mess that I'm so grateful I don't have to deal with any of that on this side of sobriety. And like, just waking up without a hangover every day is such a blessing in itself. Being healthy, wanting to do things like go on ruck marches and take walks and just be present for my kids and remember most conversations. I'd still have a bad memory, but I remember more than I don't remember. I don't know, just like it makes me so appreciative where I am today, but I always know that that other voice or that other entity is in me and it wants to drink. And that's why I always wear this bracelet that said I beat Joe Yurick, because I beat that voice. And there are days where I still have to beat that voice because I struggle with it. But I'm always going to come out on top because I have a good support system. I have things in my life that I hold above myself, like my family, my job, my friends. And yeah, I need to show up for them. And this podcast is 100% an accountability tool for me. Because like you said, I don't want to let anybody down. Like, imagine hearing about this sober vet falling off the wagon like that. I'd never want to do that. And talking to all these other vets and hearing their sobriety struggles, because some are way worse than mine, some were sound easier than mine, but we've all struggled and we're all sober and thriving. And that just continues to be a motivation for me, because I'm inspired by everyone. I'm inspired by all of our guests. I'm inspired by Dr. T and the knowledge that she brings in. Just everything is so beautiful that I just want to keep this going and kind of see where this goes. And again, I can't thank you enough, because you literally are my rock. And I say this on all my interviews, that I couldn't have done this without you. And
I pay him a lot of money to say it.
I wish. Dude, those checks all bounce.
They do.
But seriously, like just your love for me has really been my motivation to be where I am. So thank you so much.
I love you.
Do you want to make out?
Yeah, later. I think in your sobriety, it's allowed me to think about me and where I want to go in my career. Before, I was making sure that I was mom, and I'm always going to make sure I'm mom. That's my favorite job in the whole world. But I can also think of my career and how I want to grow in my career, and I can have higher positions. I can go for more leadership opportunities because you show up for the kids, and not that you didn't, but I drove the kids everywhere every evening to their sports, to everything, and you would show up for the games on the weekends and stuff like that.
But my availability was limited because if it was drinking time,
right,
I wasn't responsible.
Like school dances, like I'm driving and picking up, and and I didn't trust it. I know there was one time that when I first got into, I think it was probably like 5 years ago, I got into a newer position at the company I work at. And I had to stay late. And I was so worried because I said, hey, can you please, take the kids to where they need to go? And I found out later that you were drinking later, after dropped off the kids and dealing with the kids here at home. And it just made me feel like, and I said, I asked you not to drink. Like I asked you just to be there for our kids. And I couldn't even trust you that one day. And that was actually the first time I told someone at work. Really the only person that really knew was my best friend before that. I tried to tell my family. My family actually really didn't really believe me. They thought I was told by certain people that Joe doesn't have a drinking problem. They've seen people with drinking problems and he didn't have one. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we show you. That's what we've been showing you. Because as it got to the point where I thought, I might have to leave with the kids. I was thinking of what is my plan? What am I going to do with our children? So that night that I had to stay late, someone walked in and I was crying, and I don't like to show that I'm vulnerable, especially at work. And I was able to share with that person kind of why I was upset. And that person was like, Katie, this makes complete sense. Like, I knew you didn't drink, but I didn't know why. Like, I knew you always drove the kids around. I didn't know why. I know you have popcorn parties with Lucas and watch movies, every night, but I didn't know why. It's because we're hiding upstairs. You know what I mean? So things started clicking, I think, for that person. And I was just like, I can't focus on me and what's in a career for myself, because I want to make sure that I'm handling everything else. And when you are the significant other and the loved one of those who are dealing with addiction, you kind of go on the back burner, because you're just trying to figure out everything for everyone else so that everything else is okay. I'm just thankful that at the end of the day that you chose, which still blows my mind, that you chose us over alcohol. And that the one time I said to my therapist, sometimes I feel like Joe doesn't love me. And she's like, girl, he chose you over alcohol. And I'm like, you're right. I don't even know what I'm thinking.
There's no greater
when I have
love
those
in the
moments
world.
where I'm like, does Joe even love me? And she's like, that doesn't happen. That's not a regular thing that people just do.
Yeah.
So
No, I chose you. Yep.
I just feel so thankful. And I feel thankful for the people who've loved and supported us through this journey.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's been those people that truly love and care about us has made this journey even better. So I thank everyone from our family and friends and loved ones to even listeners, that they want to share in other people's stories and celebrate other people. So it's just really exciting to know that 4 years you've been sober.
Another sober thought, because as Katie was telling that, part of me is feeling super shameful for my actions back then. But then I just remind myself, you know what? That was drunk Joe, and I'm not that guy anymore. I'm totally different today. I'm doing the right things today. And I just kind of let that just roll off my shoulders and not bother me, because once you are sober and doing the right thing, you can't harp on what was, because you can't change that. All you can harp on is what is now and how you're doing better now. So
Yeah.
even though I feel shame for that, it also, if you flip that coin, it makes me feel appreciation for now I could take the boys wherever they need to go.
He's
And I'm not
rock star
lying
dad.
about where I am. And yeah, I'm 100% present.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I'm finally the person that God wanted me to be. And it's such a joy.
Yeah. And you've always been a rock star dad. I don't want to say like now you're a rock star dad, but like now you're the double rock star dad.
Yeah.
So, but I am just so thankful. But I do want you to know that I think you still sometimes deal with feeling a little bit of shame. And I want to take it back to even like, I want to say a month ago, you thought of something and you came to me and you're like, I feel really bad that I did that and that I put you through all of that. And I was like, please don't feel bad. Like, that is our past, and what we have in our future is so big and bright that just helped us build something even stronger. Like, thankfully we had a strong foundation.
Right.
And I think that is really what helped us get through, because it breaks my heart when I hear these stories and I hear that, you know, the partners didn't make it and that they're divorced or they broke up because of addiction. And I feel so thankful that we kept fighting for it. But I am sad for those who don't get to have that joy in that moment.
Right.
That makes me sad for other people. Like, because I know how great of a team we are.
And what did you say like a month or two ago? You said something like, I would hate for us to like get a divorce and then you be sober for someone new, where you already went through all the bad and now someone new will get to enjoy the
That would
good.
kill me, because not only that. So when I brought this ultimatum to Joe, I didn't bring it because I wanted to leave him and I wanted a divorce because I didn't love him at all. I know, even in that moment of giving him that ultimatum, Joe is my soulmate. So I just need a moment.
You're good.
God created Joe and I to be together so we can have this family and create this life for us and for our future families. That's what God intended for us. So having to go to that person that you know is your other half and that you love so much and say, listen, I can't do this anymore. And not just because it's not healthy, but because it's not safe anymore for us, was the hardest thing I ever did in my life, because I didn't think that outcome was going to be, well, then I choose you. I fully thought he was leaving the house that day. And I did not have a proper plan in place. I just knew first step, I have to stick to my guns. And if I say it, then I have to mean it. I can't just put out these false words. So knowing that like you have this love for someone and you have to walk away was like so hard, because if we weren't together, it doesn't mean my love stops. So then like to see him and to know he's with somebody else would totally break my heart even more, especially like I put in all the hard years. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was working on trying to like make us better together. Like you make me better. I'm trying to make you better. Like, so if someone else got to have that enjoy, you know, joy from out of their life because now you're sober. Yeah. I would have been totally pissed off. Like totally pissed off.
Well, it's you and it will always be you. I'm just glad I made the right choice, and it still stings. Every time I hear you say that part, it really hurts. Because
Well,
I never want you to think like I would ever choose anything over you.
I get it, but you did for a really long time. And I know it was because of the addiction. I knew it was because there were other things, voices that were stronger at that time. I'm just glad when it mattered, when it counted, that's when you made the choice. And it was in enough time that like it didn't impact our kids in a negative way, that it didn't leave this lasting impression. Like I feel like you kind of talk about it a little bit in other podcasts about like your relationship with your kids, but I think you should talk about like your relationship with your kids and like where you're at now with them, because I'm a little jelly because our youngest, he would literally come out and say, Mom, you're my favorite, which I know kids shouldn't have favorites, but I should be his favorite, right? So like when he says now I don't have favorites and he means it, that's a little frustrating because he does love his dad just as much as me now.
Absolutely.
Which he's not supposed to. I keep telling him that, but
he is supposed to. It should be equal.
Yeah, equal. He's supposed to love his mom a little bit more, just like a centimeter more.
Well, I think it's because, I mean, kids are always watching, whether you think it or not. And they could see when I would start drinking, they could see my eyes getting lower. They could hear my words being slurred. They could tell when Mom's taking them upstairs to get away from me. Like, they see everything. So now when they see that I chose their mom, now that they see that I'm being a man of my word and I'm honoring my promise, now that they see that I'm present, and when they need help, whether it's 7 a.m. or 10 p.m., I'm there to help them. 10 p.m.
I was going to say, that's questionable.
After 9 p.m. And that's another thing I wanted to thank you for. So Katie and I are perfect opposites, where I'm a morning person, she's a night owl. But when I quit drinking, literally by 9 o'clock, I'm like dead to the world. Because I
like 7:30, guys.
Well, because I wake up between 4 and 4:30 every day. So yeah, by that time, I'm like dying. So she totally changed her habits and lifestyle. So every night, latest, between 8:30 and 9, we go up to bed, which is amazing. But the fact that you made that change is huge, because that's where I needed to be. And you met me there because you support me. You're my rock. And so it's little things like that where if you're a spouse and you're like, well, I don't know how to be there for them. Things like that mean everything. Because again, before we weren't going to bed till like 10 o'clock, whatever. And man, for some reason, now that I'm sober, literally if it's after 9 o'clock, I cannot make commitments. I cannot, my brain just turns off. It's crazy. So for you to conform to that, it's greatly appreciated.
Well, I saw that there was that need because before, and I think even later you went to bed, because I mean, you would fall asleep on the couch, and you might fall asleep on the couch because he was from drinking at like 10:30. He'd come upstairs 11:30. We didn't go to bed together at the same time. Right. You know, I would go up with the kids, we'd go to bed, and he would come into bed whenever he woke up from the couch. So if I have an opportunity now to, I know he doesn't want to stay up late and his body's really tired. He would just stay down here because he wanted to drink before. Right. So now he wants to go up to bed. I want to spend that time with him. But it is a joke in our house. Like if the kids come in the room and they have a question, I'm like, guys, it's 9:01. You know, you're not getting an answer from dad right now. Right. Yep. Like they know it. By 9:01, you know, dad doesn't have the right answers and he doesn't have the patience to talk about anything.
No, my brain is done.
But like, to me, that's just a small thing that I can do to make sure you know that I'm like supporting you.
Mm-hmm. And it's huge. I do appreciate that. So in closing, what can we say? So now it's 4 years. What do we think the future holds? Is there anything you want to say to spouses out there that might be on the fence of giving that ultimatum of what to be prepared for, or any like final thoughts?
You know, I think everybody's story is different. I think my ability to fight for our relationship is probably different than some other people. Some people's story that they're supposed to have is that they leave. And not saying that because you didn't fight for it, that was wrong. Like everyone's story is different. I just hope that whatever story you're going through, that you have a support system. And that means the addict and the loved one. Like you need help. Because like when we talk about shame, like I had shame and didn't tell people what was going on because I wanted them to never look at Joe any differently because I knew who he really was. So whether you're the loved one or you're the addict, you need someone to talk to. And if you don't have that support system, that's where that therapy comes in. And now it's so readily available. Like you can go online and just book, virtual time with a therapist if you aren't able to leave the house or you're having a moment. Those options are available, which is great. So I think no matter who you are in what situation, you have to figure out what's best for you. Thankfully, what was best for me is to give Joe that ultimatum. And I'm just glad that it ended in the way where he chose me, because this could have been a different story.
Right.
This could have been that he didn't choose and he left, and I'm raising our children, and our children are going back and forth between houses and holidays, and our grandchildren are going to have separate holidays, and I'm remarried, Joe's remarried. You know what I mean? Like those things, it could have been a totally different story, but thankfully, Joe chose me and chose our children. And for that, I will be forever grateful. So happy 4 years.
Thank you, babe. And thank you for everything. And we're going to do this again in another 4 years, 8-year anniversary. What up?
That's when he's going to get the tattoo of my name.
Anyway, so my name is Joe Yurick, and that is how I became this sober vet.